Dr. Cassandra Winter had never expected her first alien encounter to smell like cinnamon and stardust. The crystalline being before her rippled with bioluminescent patterns that danced across its translucent form, creating mesmerizing waves of light that made her heart skip a beat. She forced herself to maintain her professional composure as she faced the Starweaver diplomat. "Welcome to Earth Station Omega, Ambassador Nix Rawl," she said, proud that her voice remained steady despite her racing pulse. "I'm Dr. Cassandra Winter, head of Stenobiology Studies." The Starweaver's form shifted, crystalline features arranging themselves into what she hoped was a smile. "Your welcome warms like a young star, Dr. Winter," Nix Rawl responded, their voice a harmonic blend that seemed to resonate in her chest. "Though I must confess, your species' beauty was not mentioned in our briefings." Cassandra felt heat rise to her cheeks, thankful that the station's ambient lighting might hide her blush. The Starweavers were known for their direct nature, but she hadn't expected such forward communication. "You're too kind, Ambassador. Shall we begin the tour?" As they walked through the station's curved corridors, Cassandra couldn't help but notice how Nix Rawl's crystalline form caught and reflected the light, creating rainbow patterns that danced across the walls. The ambassador moved with an ethereal grace that made them appear to float rather than walk. "Your station's design intrigues me," Nix Rawl commented, their form shifting in what Cassandra was beginning to recognize as curiosity. "The circular patterns, they mirror the orbital dance of binary stars." "That's exactly right," Cassandra replied, excitement creeping into her voice. "The station was designed to reflect cosmic harmonies. We found it helps reduce stress among long-term residents." They reached the hydroponics bay, where earth plants grew alongside specimens from a dozen worlds. Nix Rawl's form pulsed with intense colors as they observed the variety of life. "Remarkable," they whispered, extending a crystalline appendage toward a flowering vine. "You nurture life from many worlds here. It speaks to your species' capacity for adaptation and growth." Cassandra watched in fascination as Nix Rawl's crystalline structure seemed to resonate with the plant's natural frequency. "We believe understanding other forms of life helps us better understand ourselves," she explained, finding herself drawn closer to the ambassador. "A wise philosophy." Nix Rawl turned to face her, their form shimmering with new patterns she hadn't seen before. "Though I find myself more intrigued by understanding you, Dr. Winter." The moment was interrupted by a sudden alert. Red warning lights bathed the hydroponics bay, and Admiral Theron's voice echoed through the station. "All personnel to stations. Unknown vessels approaching at FTL speeds." Cassandra's training kicked in, but before she could excuse herself, Nix Rawl's form pulsed with what she recognized as alarm. "Those energy signatures," they said, their harmonic voice tense. "Raiders. They've been attacking stations throughout this sector." "Raiders." Cassandra felt her blood run cold. "But this is a research station. We're barely armed." "Then they believe you vulnerable." Nix Rawl's form condensed, becoming more angular, almost crystalline armor. "But they do not know humans as I begin to know them. Nor do they know that a Starweaver stands with you." As if in response to their words, the station shuddered under the first attacks. Through the hydroponics bay's viewport, Cassandra watched in horror as 3 sleek, predatory ships emerged from FTL, their weapon systems already charging. But what happened next would change everything she thought she knew about both species. As the raiders opened fire, Nix Rawl's crystalline form began to pulse with intense energy, and Cassandra realized that perhaps humans weren't the only species who had learned to hide their true nature. The space around them was about to become a battlefield, and in that moment, Cassandra understood that her first contact with the Starweavers was going to be far more intimate and dangerous than any protocol could have prepared her for. The raiders' first volley struck Earth Station Omega with devastating precision, but Cassandra barely noticed the impact. Her attention was fixed on Nix Rawl as the Starweaver's crystalline form transformed before her eyes. Gone was the elegant diplomat. In their place stood a being of pure energy and light, their crystalline structure now a lattice of what appeared to be living starlight. "Stay close to me, Cassandra." Nexrel's harmonic voice had taken on a resonance that made her skin tingle. "Your station's defenses will not hold for long." As if to emphasize their point, another blast rocked the station. Through the viewport, Cassandra watched as one of the raider ships executed a precise maneuver, bringing its main weapons to bear on the hydroponics section. "We need to get to the command center," she said, already moving toward the exit. "Admiral Theron will need to know what we're dealing with." Nexrel flowed beside her, their crystalline form casting protective patterns of light around them both. "The raiders seek Starweaver technology. They believe your station harbors our secrets." Their voice carried an undertone of what might have been guilt. In a way, they are not wrong. Racing through the corridors, they encountered Dr. Juni Patel, Cassandra's research partner, helping evacuate the botanical research team. "Cass," Juni called out, then stopped short at the sight of Nexrel's transformed state. "What in the name of science?" "No time to explain." Cassandra grabbed Juni's tablet, pulling up the station schematics. "We need a secure route to command." Nexrel's form pulsed with sudden urgency. "They're boarding," they announced, their crystalline structure vibrating with tension. 3 breach points detected. "Their neural signatures are familiar." "The Void Clan," Juni whispered, face pale. "They've been attacking research stations across the sector. No survivors." Cassandra felt Nexrel's energy field intensify around her, their protective instinct obvious. The sensation sent warmth spreading through her chest, despite the dire situation. "Then we'll be the first," she declared, meeting Nexrel's crystalline gaze. Together, the station's emergency lighting cast everything in a red glow as they made their way through maintenance tunnels, Juni leading them through shortcuts known only to the research staff. Every few moments, Nexrel would pause, their form resonating with what Cassandra now recognized as scanning pulses. "Your species continues to surprise me, Cassandra," Nexrel said during one such pause. "Most beings flee from danger. You move toward it." "Someone has to stand up to bullies," she replied, trying to ignore how her heart raced whenever they said her name. Even interstellar ones. They were nearly to the command center when the first Void Clan raiders appeared. Twisted figures in biomechanical armor that seemed to absorb light itself. Without hesitation, Nexrel's form expanded, creating a barrier of pure energy between the raiders and their small group. "Your station has something we want, humans." The lead raider's voice was like static through a broken speaker. "The Starweaver's crystalline core. Give it to us, and we might let you live." Cassandra felt Nexrel's energy field pulse with what could only be described as protective fury. The temperature in the corridor dropped as the Starweaver's true power began to manifest. "You know not what you meddle with, Void Dwellers." Nexrel's voice carried harmonics that made the raiders' armor vibrate. "This station, these humans, they are under my protection." The lead raider laughed, the sound like grinding metal. 1 Starweaver against 5 Void Clan warriors. Poor odds. Actually, Cassandra stepped forward, placing her hand against Nexrel's crystalline surface, feeling the energy surge between them at the contact. "I'd say the odds are in our favor." What happened next would be talked about in whispered tones throughout human space for years to come. As the raiders opened fire, Nexrel's form seemed to merge with Cassandra's bioelectric field, creating a synthesis of human determination and Starweaver power that none had witnessed before. Juni watched in awe as her friend and the alien diplomat moved in perfect synchronization. Nexrel's energy attacks amplified by Cassandra's understanding of xenobiology. The raiders' advanced armor proved useless against the combination of human insight and Starweaver power. But even as they drove back the first wave of attackers, Cassandra knew this was just the beginning. The real test would come when they had to convince both their species that what was growing between her and Nexrel wasn't just an alliance of necessity, but something far more profound and potentially revolutionary. As if reading her thoughts, Nexral's form shimmered with patterns she now recognized as affection. "Your touch," they said softly, even as they maintained their defensive position. "It resonates with my core frequency in ways I never thought possible." "We can discuss resonance frequencies later," Cassandra replied with a smile, though her hand lingered against their crystalline surface. "Right now, we have a station to save." The sound of more raiders approaching echoed through the corridor, but neither human nor Starweaver showed fear. They had found something worth fighting for, in each other, and in the possibility of what their two species might become together. Admiral Theron's command center was in chaos when Cassandra, Nexral, and June finally arrived. Holographic displays showed the three raider ships systematically targeting the station's key systems, while security feeds revealed more Void Clan warriors breaching multiple levels. "Dr. Winter," Theron's weathered face showed relief at their arrival. "And Ambassador, though you look quite different from our last meeting." Nexral's crystalline form pulsed with acknowledgement. "The diplomatic facade serves its purpose, Admiral, but times of crisis require truth." Their energy field remained protectively close to Cassandra. "Your station was targeted because of my presence. I owe you honesty now. Save the explanations." Theron waved off their concern, his tactical display highlighting multiple critical failures. "Right now, I need solutions. Our main reactor's failing, life support's at 60%, and we've got hostiles on 5 levels. Cassandra stepped forward, her mind racing. "Junie, what about the experimental photonic resonators from Lab 7? Her colleague's eyes widened. "The ones we were developing to communicate with deep space organisms. They're untested, Cass. But they operate on the same frequency as Starweaver energy signatures." Cassandra turned to Nexral, whose form shimmered with sudden understanding. "A weaponized resonance cascade." Nexral's voice carried both admiration and concern. "Clever, but dangerous. The feedback could affect me as well." Cassandra moved closer to them, her hand finding what passed for their shoulder. "Not if we calibrate it to your exact frequency." She looked into the swirling patterns that served as their eyes. "Trust me." The moment between them was charged with more than just energy. Nexral's form rippled with colors Cassandra had never seen before, patterns that spoke of emotions beyond human description. "Always," they whispered, their harmonics making her heart race. Admiral Theron cleared his throat. "Whatever you two are planning, make it fast. We've got multiple hostiles converging on the reactor core." June was already accessing the lab's systems remotely. "The resonators need 10 minutes to power up, and someone has to manually activate them from the primary science bay, which is currently occupied by Void Clan raiders." Theron added grimly, security feeds showing at least 7 hostile signatures in that section. Nexral's form suddenly pulsed with brilliant light. "Cassandra, the resonance between us, it's not just emotional or biological. When we touched earlier, during the fight, our energy patterns synchronized," she finished, excitement building. "Junie, adjust the resonator's frequency to match the harmonic we created. Admiral, we need a path to the science bay." Theron studied them both for a moment, then nodded sharply. "Security teams will provide distraction on multiple levels, but you'll have only minutes before the reactor goes critical." As they prepared to move out, Cassandra felt Nexral's energy field intensify around her. "There's something you should know," they said softly, their crystalline structure shifting nervously. "Among my people, the sharing of core frequencies is intimate, reserved for life-bonded pairs." Cassandra's breath caught. "Are you saying we're basically married by Starweaver standards?" "More than married. Our resonance patterns have fundamentally aligned. It's unprecedented between our species." Before Cassandra could process this revelation, the station rocked with another impact. Warning lights flashed as the reactor's containment field began to fluctuate. "Time to move," Theron ordered, but his eyes held understanding as he glanced between them. "Save my station, and we'll discuss interspecies relationships at the debriefing." Racing through the corridors once more, Cassandra and Nixrel moved in perfect synchronization. Their earlier connection had deepened, allowing them to anticipate each other's movements with uncanny precision. When they encountered Void Clan resistance, their combined abilities proved devastating. Cassandra's scientific knowledge, helping to identify weak points in the Raiders' armor, while Nexral's energy attacks exploited them. They reached the science bay to find it transformed into a war zone. Raiders had destroyed much of the sensitive equipment, but the resonators remained intact, protected by emergency force fields. The calibration must be exact. Junie's voice crackled through their comms. Too high, and you'll affect Nexral. Too low, and the Raiders' armor will adapt. Cassandra moved to the control panel while Nexral stood guard. As she worked, she could feel their energy field pulse with something beyond protection. Pride, affection, and what she was beginning to recognize as love. Whatever happens, Nexral said, their form glowing brighter as more Raiders approached their position. Know that you have changed how I perceive humanity forever. Cassandra Winter. She smiled, making the final adjustments. Funny, I was about to say the same about Starweavers. Her hand hovered over the activation switch, ready to show these Raiders what happens when two species resonate as one. The answer came not in words, but in a surge of pure energy as Nexral's form merged with hers once more, their combined power reaching levels that neither species had achieved alone. As the resonators powered up, Cassandra realized that this wasn't just about saving the station anymore. It was about proving that love truly could transcend the boundaries between stars. The resonator's activation created a cascade of pure energy that rippled through Earth Station Omega. As Cassandra and Nexral's combined frequencies harmonized with the device, the effect on the Void Clan Raiders was immediate and devastating. Their biomechanical armor began to vibrate, crystalline fractures appearing across their supposedly impenetrable surfaces. The frequency match is perfect. Junie's excited voice came through the comms, their armors breaking down at the molecular level. But victory wasn't assured yet. Through their merged consciousness, Cassandra felt Nixral's growing concern. Something's wrong. They communicated directly into her mind. The Raiders, they're not trying to escape. She understood immediately. Despite their armor failing, the Void Clan warriors were pressing forward, converging on their position with singular purpose. They're not here just for Starweaver technology, she realized. They're after something specific. Through the station's cameras, they watched as the Raiders' ships maintained their attack pattern, systematically destroying specific sections of the station. Admiral Theron's voice crackled through their comms. They're targeting our quantum research labs. All of them. Cassandra felt Nixral's energy pulse with sudden recognition. The harmonic codex, they whispered, their crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. They know. Before Cassandra could ask what they meant, the science bay's doors exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped a figure unlike any Void Clan warrior they'd seen. Its armor was alive with dark energy, seemingly absorbing the resonator's effects. Ambassador Nixral, the figure's voice carried the weight of ancient malice, or should I say, keeper of the first frequency. Your council's secrets die today. Nexral's form shifted protectively around Cassandra, but she could feel their shock. Archinvex, you were exiled centuries ago. Exiled for seeing the truth, the dark figure advanced, each step leaving scorch marks on the floor. That humanity's quantum research would eventually unlock the harmonic codex, that they would discover the true nature of reality itself. Through their connection, Cassandra suddenly understood. The seemingly innocent quantum communication experiments her team had been conducting, they were accidentally replicating ancient Starweaver frequencies, frequencies that could reshape matter itself. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Nexral's voice carried desperate urgency. The codex was sealed for a reason. Even my people weren't ready for its power. Archinvex laughed, the sound like breaking glass. But humans, they approach it differently. No spiritual constraints, no philosophical barriers, Just pure scientific curiosity. The dark figure turned its gaze to Cassandra. Isn't that right, Dr. Winter? Your research was so close to breaking through. Cassandra felt Nixrel's energy surge with protective fury, but she placed a calming hand against their crystalline surface. Through their bond, she shared a plan forming in her mind. You're right about one thing, she said, slowly moving toward the resonator controls. Humans do approach things differently. We don't just seek knowledge, we understand its price. Her fingers danced across the console. Junie, initiate Protocol Omega. Warning lights flashed as the station's quantum research data began systematically erasing itself. But Cassandra wasn't done. She had realized something crucial about the resonator's effect. Nexral, she whispered through their bond, you said our frequencies aligned perfectly. What if we pushed that alignment further, past normal harmonics? Understanding bloomed between them. It was dangerous, possibly fatal. But if they could amplify their unique resonance through the station's systems, your death will change nothing. Archonvex raised a weapon that pulsed with void energy. The codex will be found. Reality itself will bend to our will. Reality isn't meant to bend, Cassandra replied, her hand finding Nixrel's crystalline one. But bridges can be built between worlds, between species, between hearts. Their merged energy began to build, far beyond what the resonators were designed to handle. The science bay's instruments sparked and shorted as reality itself seemed to vibrate around them. What are you doing? Fear crept into the Archon's voice as their combined frequency reached impossible levels. Through their connection, Cassandra and Nixrel moved as one being. Neither fully human nor Starweaver, but something gloriously new. Their love, their trust, their combined understanding of both science and spirit created something the Void Clan could never comprehend. Showing you, they spoke in perfect harmony, their merged form blazing with light. What happens when two species choose to resonate rather than dominate? The energy wave that burst from them transcended normal physics, carrying the pure frequency of two hearts beating as one across space itself. As consciousness began to fade, Cassandra's last thought was a feeling of Nixrel's love wrapping around her like starlight, protecting her from the darkness that followed. Cassandra awoke to the soft hum of medical equipment and a familiar warmth radiating beside her. Through still blurry vision, she saw crystalline patterns of light dancing across the recovery room's walls. Nixrel's energy signature, now as familiar to her as her own heartbeat. Welcome back, my resonant heart. Their harmonic voice was tender, their form shimmering with joy and relief. You've been unconscious for 3 Earth days. She tried to sit up, memories flooding back. The station, the Void Clan. Safe and defeated, Junie's voice came from nearby. Her friend looked exhausted but happy. What you two did, it changed everything. Through their bond, Nexral shared images of what had happened. Their combined energy wave had not only neutralized the Void Clan's weapons and armor, but had transformed them, breaking the corrupt frequencies that had twisted them into monsters. More importantly, the event had been witnessed by both human and Starweaver observers. The Harmonic Council has arrived, Nexral explained, their form rippling with subtle anxiety, along with representatives from Earth's highest authorities. What we achieved, it wasn't supposed to be possible. Cassandra reached out, feeling their energy field embrace her hand. Because I'm human. Because true resonance harmony was believed to be solely a Starweaver trait. Yet you, with your beautiful human spirit, achieved it through pure love and understanding. Their form pulsed with colors she now recognized as deep affection. You've shattered millennia of assumptions. Admiral Theron entered, looking more relaxed than Cassandra had ever seen him. Our guests are ready for you both, if you're feeling up to it. In the station's main conference room, Cassandra found herself facing both human and Starweaver leadership. The Harmonic Council members were magnificent beings of pure crystalline energy, their forms far more complex than Nexrel's. The human officials included representatives from Earth's highest scientific and diplomatic bodies. Dr. Winter, Ambassador Nix Rawl. The lead council member's voice resonated through the room. Your unique bond has forced us to confront our own prejudices. We believe humans, too, unstable for true harmonic alignment. With respect, Cassandra stood tall, drawing strength from Nix Rawl's supportive presence. Perhaps instability isn't always a weakness. Humans may approach things differently, but our capacity for love, for understanding, for building bridges rather than walls, that's universal. Indeed, one of the Earth officials spoke up. The quantum frequency data from your merger has revolutionary implications. You've proven that different species can achieve perfect harmony without losing their unique characteristics. Through their bond, Cassandra felt Nix Rawl's pride and love wash over her. Their shared consciousness had evolved beyond mere telepathy, becoming something beautiful and new, a perfect synthesis of human emotion and Starweaver energy. The Void Clan sought to force reality to bend to their will. Nix Rawl addressed both groups. But Cassandra showed me that true power comes from letting love bridge the gaps between worlds. The Harmonic Codex was never meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a guide for this very moment. The lead council members' form shifted in what Cassandra now recognized as approval. Then perhaps it is time for a new chapter in both our histories. A joint academy, perhaps, where both species can study harmonic science together. Under the right leadership, Admiral Theron added with a knowing smile. Hours later, as Earth Station Omega's repaired viewport showed both human and Starweaver ships working together to clear the battle debris, Cassandra stood in the hydroponics bay where it had all begun. Nix Rawl's energy field enveloped her in a gentle embrace. You know, she said, watching their combined reflection in the viewport glass, when I signed up for xenobiology studies, I never expected to end up married to a being of pure energy. Nix Rawl's form sparkled with amusement, and I never expected to fall in love with a species that hadn't even achieved quantum consciousness. Life, it seems, has a way of surprising us. Speaking of surprises, Junie interrupted, entering with a tablet full of readings. You might want to see this. The harmonic resonance between you two. It's affecting the station's plants. They're evolving, creating new hybrid species that shouldn't be possible. Cassandra laughed, leaning back into Nix Rawl's embrace. Impossible seems to be our specialty. Through their bond, she felt Nix Rawl's agreement, and something more. A vision of their future together, teaching at the new academy, helping other humans and Starweavers find their own harmonies, exploring the vast mysteries of love across species and space. The universe is full of barriers, Nix Rawl mused, their form creating patterns of infinite beauty around them both. But love, true love, finds a frequency that transcends them all. As stars wheeled past the viewport and their energies danced together in perfect harmony, Cassandra knew they had discovered something far greater than the harmonic codex. They had proven that the heart's resonance could bridge any distance, even the vast expanses between the stars.